Hey everyone, I'm Sarah, jazz musician, mom, and your friendly guide through the often weird and wonderful world of crypto. So what's up this week? Bitcoin hits a jaw-dropping milestone. President Trump goes all in on crypto, and the SEC is actually listening to the crypto community. Whether you've been in the space for a while, or if you're just crypto curious and you're kind of wondering what all the buzz is about, I got you. The first headline is, MicroStrategy has officially crossed the 500,000 Bitcoin mark. Now, let that sink in. 500,000 Bitcoin. One company now owns about 2.5% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist. Their most recent purchase, 6,911 Bitcoin for about 584 mil. They used proceeds from stock sales to make the buy, so they didn't take out loans or sell assets. They actually planned for this. After the purchase, MicroStrategy stock jumped 7% and Bitcoin's price went up nearly 4%, hitting 88,349. If you're new to this space, MicroStrategy is a business intelligence company, but their CEO, Michael Saylor, is basically the high priest of Bitcoin. He's been loading up on BTC since 2020, and while some folks roll their eyes at how obsessed he is, his strategy has worked out very well so far. What does that mean for the rest of us? When a massive company continues to double down even after Bitcoin has already surged, it tells us that they think that there's more room to grow, that Bitcoin still has long-term value, and that it's worth holding on to, not just flipping for quick cash. Now, that kind of conviction can build confidence across the board. So, if you've been feeling unsure about Bitcoin's future, this might be a good moment to pause, take a breath, and really pay attention. Let's talk about something that might surprise you. President Trump has taken a bold pro-crypto stance in his second term. At the Digital Assets Summit in New York, he announced that he wants the United States to be the Bitcoin superpower of the world. He called for clear regulations around stablecoins. He praised dollar-backed digital currencies, and he proposed something called a Bitcoin reserve, which is basically a digital version of Fort Knox. This isn't just campaign talk anymore. This is actual presidential policy. So just a few years ago, Trump was calling crypto a disaster waiting to happen, and now he's saying it could drive United States innovation and economic growth upwards. This is truly a big shift, and it's one we just can't ignore. He's pushing for structure and for actual guidelines and protections that could help the US lead in the global digital economy. So, like him or not, this kind of attention from the top means crypto is no longer something on the sidelines. It's becoming part of the national conversation and even the national strategy. And speaking of national strategy, the SEC, the folks who usually hand out lawsuits like flyers, they held their first public cryptocurrency task force meeting this week. It was led by Hester Pierce, aka Crypto Mom. She has been advocating for fair, clear rules for years. And this meeting brought together a mix of legal experts and crypto founders and people from traditional finance. So what they did was they tackled questions like, well, what makes a token a security? Or how do we protect people without crushing innovation? How can the United States stay competitive with the rest of the world? Here is the surprising part. They actually listened. And this wasn't just another speech fest. They were real conversations with real back and forth. So for years, people in crypto have been flying basically blind. Companies launch, they launch their projects, and then they get hit with lawsuits later. And that's no way to build trust or an industry. But this meeting felt different. It felt like the first step towards rules that are actually workable. See, if you've ever tried to learn a song with no lead sheet or no chord changes, well, you know how messy that feels, right? So that's been crypto, but maybe now we're finally getting some sheet music. Let's take a quick look at the markets. Bitcoin is trading above 88K. Ethereum is around 2,090. Now, That's a noticeable jump from last week when Bitcoin was at 84K and ETH was around 1960. But what's even more encouraging, digital asset investment funds saw 644 million in inflow. And that's the first positive flow after 5 weeks of outflow, which tells us something. People are putting money back in. Part of this optimism may be tied to Trump's newly announced crypto policies. Also, his revised approach to tariffs, which may ease up on certain sectors, has boosted investor confidence across the board. While prices are just one part of the story, this week showed a shift in sentiment. And people aren't just watching, they're actually participating again. So what does this all mean for us? It means that crypto is maturing. It's not just a side hustle or a speculative bet anymore. It's becoming part of the real economy and the real conversation. Big players, they're doubling down. Regulators are finally showing up. And the President of the United States is calling crypto a key part of the country's future. Now, that doesn't mean the road ahead is smooth. There will be bumps, there will be bad headlines, but it also means that we're heading somewhere. If you're brand new to all of this, please start small. Read, learn, ask questions. Don't let the tech talk scare you away. Crypto isn't just for coders or finance bros. It's for moms, it's for musicians, teachers, all of us. That's it for this week's crypto news. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me on Prepare to Prosper. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment with what you'd like me to cover next week.